Hello lovely beaders. Welcome back to my channel. Today I would like to show you how to do diagonal peyote with a very old pattern, the Russian leaf. It's not difficult and you can achieve really interesting results with it. Like this Russian leaf earring for example. And I will use the diagonal stitch to make a ring to show you how easy it is to use this pattern for something else. But first I want to show you the result of another one of my favorite handmade creations. This resin heart bowl. Because of this bowl I chose the colors of my beading to bronze and white. It's not a perfect match, I know, but I liked my bowl so much that I couldn't think of any other color combination for today's video. Although for practice I've been making a lot of earrings with this technique lately, and I used a lot of other colors and even I made patterns to see how hard it is to follow a pattern in a diagonal beading. I'll include the base patterns at the end of the video in case you get brave enough to try any of them. Let's start the beading with a stopper bead. The purpose of the stopper bead is to hold the beads and help you string the first row. If possible, choose a bead that is a different color so that it doesn't interfere with your beading. String 10 pieces of delica beads in bronze color. Pull down your beads to the stopper bead. And turn back into the fourth delica. So skip the first 3 delicas and go through the fourth. This will be your bottom corner. Start the peyote row. String 1 delica, skip 1 delica in the base row and go through the next delica. Repeat 2 more times. This bronze part will be the middle of the leaf. Start a peyote row with white delicas, but stop when you string the third delica. Because this strip will be diagonal, you need to stop every time and not string bead in the last gap. And for the turn string 1 bronze delica. The rest of the strip will be white. For this side turn we need to increase the strip to start the diagonal look. So we need to pick up more beads, not only 1. String 2 white and 1 bronze delica. Pull your beads down your thread and go through the first white delica. This way you will have the extra bead on top of the strip. The bronze and the white delica will sit next to each other. For now they want to turn and that is okay. But bear in mind that in the next row you will need to use the white delica. The bronze color will be the color from the edge of the strip and the strip is made with white delicas. Start a peyote row with white delicas, but stop before the last gap. Turn with 1 bronze delica. String white delicas. Pay attention to use the white delica from the increase. Make the increase by stringing 2 white and 1 bronze delica. Pull your beads down your thread. And go through the first white delica strung for the increase. This was the second increase. You need to repeat these 2 rows until you have 5 increases and 6 turns with bronze delicas on the bottom edge of the strip. You can make more if you want your strip longer. I will speed up the video until I have my strip with the 6 turns on the bottom to not bore you with the repetitions. Don't forget that you can slow it down by clicking on the cogwheel icon and selecting the speed you want. You can make the peyote strip not only longer but also wider. If you want it wider, increase the starting number of the beads, but be careful to always have an even number. This earring pattern is not exactly the same as the Russian leaf pattern. I gave this name for this earring since it looks very similar to it. Unfortunately, I couldn't find the name of the original designer. If you know who it is, I would appreciate it if you could share it with me. I have my strip long enough. And because now we need to turn back to the starting base row, we can pull off the stopper bead and weave in the tail. If I just cut the tail here, the first row might come undone since that part has only one string of thread there. I could leave the tail and not cut it, or I could not remove the stopper bead, but it would bother me on the next part of the beading, it would be in the way. To reach the base row, you need to turn back in the last bronze bead from the last increase. String bronze delicas between the bronze delicas from the increases. This way you will have a bronze line on the inside of the shape. With the last delica you will go through the first delica from your base row. But now you are in a wrong position to start the other side of the earring. You need to turn back to have your needle coming out from the end of the base row. Go down on the second delica and turn back into the other side delica and back in the first delica. And now you can start the other side of the earring. String the first row of peyote with white delicas. Don't string bead in the last gap. You need to make this side symmetrical to the other side. If you see that this side is bigger or smaller than the other, you need to go back and check the difference and fix it. Turn with one bronze delica. String white delicas for the rest of the row. Make the first increase by stringing 2 white and 1 bronze delica. String the row with white delicas. Don't string bead in the last gap. Make the turn with 1 bronze delica. And like I said before, this part will be symmetrical with the first side. So you just need to repeat these 2 rows until you have the same length for this strip like you have for the first strip. I will speed up the video again to not bore you with the repetitions. Don't forget that you can slow it down anytime. Since we have a moment, I'd like to ask for your support. If you enjoyed this video and found it helpful, please consider subscribing and giving it a thumbs up. I share all my knowledge here for free, but to keep creating valuable content, your support is essential. Every like, comment, and share helps the channel grow and reach more people. If you'd like to go a step further, you can buy me a coffee, or check out my tutorials and jewelry pieces. The links are in the description. Thank you so much for helping me keep this channel going. My strip has the same length like the first side. Turn back in the bronze delica and string bronze delicas on the inside of the shape. The inside bronze row is completed, so the inner side is finished. We need to go to the outer side to make the bronze row complete there too. Lead your thread to a corner bead. Go through the delica from the other side to be in position to complete one side with the bronze delicas. String bronze delicas between the bronze delicas strung for the turns. And string bronze delicas on the end of the strip too. But with the last bead, go through the last 2 white delica beads to reach the top of the strip. We need to make the hanger part of the earring. We would connect the 2 sides with some beads. String 3 pieces of bronze delicas and go through the white bead from the other side of the earring. Here you can still decide if you want your earring flatter or with the curve that I made. If you want it flat, you need to string more beads instead of the 3 beads that I strung. To reinforce the hanger, turn back in the bronze delica and go through the beads and the bronze delica from the other side. The hanger is sturdy enough, but we would need to string the bronze delicas on the other outer side of the earring, so we need to go through the hanger again to reach the white delicas and start to string the bronze delicas on that side too. With this step you will finish the earring. It is not that hard to make the diagonal peyote, don't you think? I hope you will stay with me to make the ring too. And on the end of the video I will put some patterns for making this earring more colorful. It has a lovely curved shape and it is not too big. I like the colors too. You can weave in the thread and cut it. I wanted to go through the outside bronze row again to reinforce it. This was my weaving in part. The extra patterns that I will include at the end of the video will be in order of difficulty. The first one is the easiest, the second needs a bit more focus, and the third one kept me the most engaged. I will be curious to hear your thoughts. Open the earring hook, thread it through the hanger and close it. The earring is finished. And now I will show you how I use this diagonal peyote to make the arrow-shaped ring. Start the ring exactly the same like we started the earring. Pick up a stopper bead. String 10 pieces of delica beads in bronze color. Pull your beads down on your thread. Turn back into the 4th delica. Start the first peyote row. String only bronze delicas. This bronze part will be the middle of the ring, or shall I say the middle of the arrow. Start a peyote row with white delicas, but stop before the last gap. Turn with 1 bronze delica. String white delicas in the next 2 gaps. String 2 white and 1 bronze delica for the increase. Pull your beads down your thread and go through the first white delica. This first increase is the same like the increase in the earring. Make the rest of the row with white delicas, but stop before the last gap. Turn with 1 bronze delica. String white delicas for the rest of the row. For this second increase we need to pick up 1 white and 2 bronze delicas. Pull your beads down your thread and go through the white delica strung for the increase. Make the rest of the row with white delicas, but stop before the last gap and turn with a bronze delica. String white delicas in the next 2 gaps. The half of the arrow shape is finished. We need to go back to the middle row to start the other side of the arrow. You can pull off the stopper bead and weave in the tail. Turn back in the bronze delica next to the delica you are exiting and string bronze delicas on the inside of the shape to reach the middle row. You need to turn back to have your needle coming out from the end of the base row. You will need to make this side symmetrical to the other side. String this first row of peyote with white delicas. Stop before the last gap. Turn with one bronze delica. String white delicas for the rest of the row. For the first increase, string 2 white and 1 bronze delica. Go through the first white delica strung for the increase and continue the peyote row with white delicas. Stop before the last gap. Turn with 1 bronze delica and continue the row with white delicas. For the second increase, string 1 white and 2 bronze delicas. Go through the white delica strung for the increase and continue the peyote row with white delicas. Turn with 1 bronze delica and continue the row with white delicas. And we can start the simple peyote strip by turning on every turn with bronze delicas and stringing on every other spot only white delicas. This will be the ring band. This is just a simple peyote strip, nothing too fancy or difficult to make. Make the ring band as long as you need. I will make my strip off camera to not bore you with the simple peyote rows. My ring band is long enough. I just need one more row to have the good ending to be able to zip the two sides together. Let's zip the two sides together. It's not a really difficult task, just think of it like a zipper and go through the row by pulling the bead that sticks out on one side into the corresponding hole on the other side. It might look more complicated than it actually is, but that's only because I'm being extra careful. Try not to move too much, keeping the beading straight and making sure you can clearly see which beads I'm going through. So if it seems tricky, it's just because I'm adjusting for the camera, not because the technique is difficult. Reinforce the zipping row, and with this step you will lead your thread to the outside of the arrow shape. String bronze delicas between the bronze delicas strung for the turns on both sides of the arrow shape. The outside bronze row is completed. We need to go to the inner side because one side is not finished. So lead your thread to the unfinished part of the inner shape and string the last 2 bronze delicas to complete that part too. The ring is finished, so you can weave in the thread and cut it. You can put extra work to reinforce the outer bronze row or the corner beads while you weave in the thread. This is a very simple ring, but it can be made in so many colors. It has so many possibilities. And here they are together. I love them. What do you think? These are the base patterns for the other colorways with the colors that I used to make them. I hope you will find them easy to make and you will have a go with at least one. Do you notice the mistake I made with this earring? It is a color mistake. Do you see where? And that's the end of today's video. If you watched it and liked it, don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. Thank you for spending time with me. See you next week.